Golf, the greatest of games. Hear the crack of a drive well struck and see the ball soaring against a brilliant blue sky. Hear the rattle of the cup as a long putt disappears. The great shots, the great players, the great courses. The 18th at Pebble Beach, the first tee at the Old Course in St. Andrews, Scotland, and beneath the towering pines of Georgia at Augusta National. Our host, Texas Links Magazine's writer Pat Wheeler, will bring you the latest in tournament results, interviews with colorful personalities, and tips for where to play, what equipment to use, and where you might go for a lesson to improve your game. Brought to you by DFW and Houston Links Magazines. Here's Texas Links on the air with your host, Pat Wheeler. Take it away, Pat.
Thank you, Vino Sport, and it's another beautiful Saturday in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Cannot believe the cool temperatures we've been having. Played golf yesterday. Almost needed a sweater, believe it or not. I have my friend Mike Henry visiting here from Atlanta. We went down and played Twin Lakes Golf Course outside of Canton. Folks, if you've never played that golf course, you owe it to yourself to go down there. Just a gorgeous layout and not easy at all. And my friend Mike Henry had a 81 and I had an 84, but I did birdie the last hole, so that always leaves you feeling good. And we're going to talk a little bit about the British Open for a couple of segments today, and then we're also going to talk to a 7-year-old golfing phenom, Avery Zweig. I think I'm saying that last name right. Zweig or Zweig. I'll get corrected on that later. But she's 7 years old. She's played in 96 tournaments already, swings the golf club over 60 miles an hour, hits it almost 200 yards, and she is not yet 8 years old, so getting ready to be 8 years old. On the other end of the spectrum, we're joined by our former tour player. I say other end of the spectrum age-wise, although he's my junior, Brian Wilson. And Brian, I guess, you know, we're Texas Links on the air, and we've been watching some British Links, and it looks like Rory McIlroy is pretty much dialed in this week.
I'm not talking about Rory. I'm talking about Tiger this week there, Pat. It's all about Tiger.
Really? Well, what Tiger lost a ball today or something, didn't he?
Yes, he did. I'm joking. Yes. McIlroy, he was patient today, and then man, what a finish.
Two eagles in the last three holes and sandwiched around a bogey, which is a little bit inexplicable, but that's okay. Is the tournament over in your mind?
Yes. I think that, he doesn't have to hit a driver tomorrow. He could hit 2-iron, 3-iron off the tee. He can do what he wants tomorrow. He'll probably play just as aggressive as he has so far, but I think it's over.
Well, you say that, and the only thing I would dispute about that is remembering the Honda this year. And it was the Honda, not a major, but he did stumble badly coming in, although that's a different type of golf course than what he's playing in England. There's no water in England. I think he hit it in the drink 2 or 3 times coming in there. It just seems to me like when he's on, he's just a phenomenal golfer to watch. But when he gets a little bit off, it can really go sideways. So I'm thinking it's not over. But I know a Dustin or a Sergio or a Ricky or somebody's got to go ridiculously low to make this thing interesting going into the final round.
Well,
going into the final holes. We're into the final round already.
Yeah, we're going to be the final holes. Somebody's going to have to get up pretty close to him, getting into those par fives at the end, because if he drives it, if he decides to hit driver, if he has to, that's like today. He hits iron into both of them, and there are guys out there playing that can't reach the green in 2. Mm-hmm. And he just distance. You talk about the little girls hitting it far. Mm-hmm. Well, he's doing the same thing. He's hitting it past everybody. That's a big deal.
Well, they were talking today. They're saying he's as long as Dustin Johnson and not near as big, but he gets just tremendous clubhead speed with his golf swing.
That's what they say. They say he has the fastest hips in the. They've measured on whatever they measured on. So he has all this speed, and that's where he gets in trouble too. Even though you can be fast, you have to be fast and accurate. And when we grew up, they talked about, if you hit it far, the long, what was the old saying? The trees are full of long hitters.
Yes, yes.
When you swing that fast, and he does swing very, very fast, 125 plus, then when it goes crooked, it goes bad. I mean,
well, let me ask you this, and Mike, you can chip in anytime you like here. My friend Mike Henry visiting from Atlanta. I'm looking at my notes here about Avery, folks. I just want to remind everyone, this 7-year-old girl had a 28 recently for 9 holes. Yeah, it was a short course, but that's 28 as in a 2 before an 8. But getting back to the British Open, what in the world was going on today, starting people off on the back 9 in a major championship? I didn't catch all the reasoning behind that. I knew they had some weather coming in, but I don't ever recall that happening before. Brian?
They said that on the deal, they said that the weather was coming, and it didn't come, and it was a precautionary measure to get everybody out there on the course and get them done. They'd never done it before at the British Open.
Wow. I thought that was a first, and it was just odd to see. First of all, it was odd to turn the thing on thinking I was going to see, like all 18 holes maybe, and they were already on about 12 or 13.
Me too.
Yeah, so that caught you off guard as well.
I missed it. I was like, they're on 12 already. And I'm like, well, this is looking pretty good. If Rory just kind of, if he stays about 12 and Ricky's coming on and Sergio was in there, and then all of a sudden, boom, it was over.
Well, I saw the pivotal hour there. We saw the pivotal hour because they were both at 12 with about 5 or 6 holes to play each. And within an hour, it went from tie to 6. Ricky goes 2 over the last 5 or 6 holes, and McIlroy goes 4 or 5 under. So that was just
4 under.
Yeah, just amazing how and that putting stroke. My goodness.
Everybody talks about his swing.
Yeah,
that thing, his putting stroke is like butter. His ball is rolling. I mean, he made 2 20-footers coming in. That ball's rolling perfect into the hole.
Oh, I know. And really, going back to your comments about Tiger, injuries, lots of this and that, but there was a time when Tiger rolled it like that. I don't think he actually rolls it like that anymore.
No, I don't think he does.
Which is, Rory probably won't roll it that well when he's 38.
No, Dan Jenkins said that they all make them for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And he said everybody started missing.
Mm-hmm.
Palmer started missing, Nicklaus missed, Watson missed, Trevino missed, Woods is missing now. But Tiger's still not hitting the ball anywhere. I mean, it's just terribly if you don't play a lot of tournament golf, it is terribly difficult to get out there and compete with these guys who are playing week in and week out.
Mm-hmm. And I guess what has Martin Keimer done this week? He's just kind of been there, right? He hadn't really done anything.
Hadn't done a thing. He started off. He made it. I remember watching him start, and he made a birdie early, and then made a pretty good putt. And I'm like, well, he may be on his way. And then the next hole, he hit it to about 4 feet. He's going to go 200 after 4, and he missed it. The next hole, he made double, and just nothing ever took off for him.
Okay. Mike, you got any thoughts on this British Open?
I just wanted to ask, does Rory McIlroy, does he beat as many balls as Vijay Singh does?
I don't think he does. Do you?
No,
I don't think anybody was ever alive except maybe Mike Henry that hit as many balls as Vijay Singh. Maybe Hogan did. I don't know. Brian?
I don't know. I don't think he does. I really don't.
Right. And I was going back through an old DFW Links. By the way, this show is brought to you by DFW and Houston Links. We want to remind you that our DFW Links and Houston Links are on the stand, and next week is the U.S. Juniors going to be played at Carlton Woods, the Nicklaus course at Carlton Woods outside of Houston. So the best juniors in the world are going to be here. And, of course, we're going to talk to someone who's a 7-year-old golfer going on 8. And I think a lot of these kids now start out at 4 and 5, don't they, Brian? I mean, it's amazing the way it's different now than it was when we played junior golf.
Yes, there was junior golf when you and I grew up.
Well, there was, yeah. There was Mineola, there was Longview, there was Kilgore, and of course now they go to Houston, Dallas, Orlando. Yeah, it's a little different.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, we had Legends Tour qualifying out at Hawks Creek this week, and I was asked to be the rules official for the day. And we had 12 boys playing, 15 to 18. And wherever they're learning how to play golf, they're doing a great job, because the first group, they're walking, playing competitive golf. The first group was in at 2 hours on the front nine, and the last group finished 2 hours the front nine.
Wow.
They play quick.
Wow.
And they play ready golf, and they play really good golf. So there's a lot. I mean, I saw a kid on number 9 hit driver, whatever, on the green and 2 on number 9 there, 550, and to a little bit of wind, have a putt for eagles. So it's a.
Well, I played with a young man like that. He's 13 years old. Mariano Barbosa plays out at Stevens Park. And I said, what's the best you've shot at Stevens Park? He said 73. And I thought, are you kidding me? At the time, I thought he was 17 because he's big and strong, hits it a long way. And my guy playing with me said, well, he's 13. I said, what?
Yeah.
And you wouldn't meet a nicer kid. It was a first tee fundraiser or pro-am that they had. And one thing Tim January says, and my friend Tim January, son of Don, is that the U.S. Kids, which sponsors a lot of these young tournaments for the like the ones we're going to talk to with Avery, she's 7 going on 8, played in a bunch of tournaments. U.S. Kids puts it on. Back in our day, you'd get a sawed-off adult club, which you had to jerk straight inside to get it up on your swing, and it created all these bad swing patterns. And now with this equipment for the young kids, they can just swing. They can teach them how to swing correctly from the get-go, right?
They do. I had a set for my girls, and they use them, and it's you're going to invest in, they buy baseball bats and all the stuff for the kids when they play the baseball, and you got to do it for your kid, I guess, if you're going to play the golf. So
yeah. Everything's been ratcheted up. Back in the day, it was just kind of like, go out, kids go out and play. We'll see you at dark, right?
Yeah, don't get out of the way. Somebody comes up behind you. I think that's still in play. They tell you to get out of the way when somebody comes up behind you. Right. Well, you going to try to tune in tomorrow, or are you going to miss that with your church duties? No, I'll probably watch it in the morning, and like I say, I think it's over. I think if he gets through the first 9 up by 4 or 5, then it's pretty much done, and then I can go to church. I would think by 10:50 he'll have that thing. He's a great front runner. I mean, he really is.
Well, the 2 that he's won, he's had big leads like this, and he's been able to close the deal. So I guess there's no reason to think he won't close it this time. And, we haven't mentioned the fact that you put your game on the line last week over in Kilgore, shot even par. Lord. I think you finished 7th, something like that, in the Meadowbrook Invitational, which we think is the longest running of the beer and barbecue tournaments. I think the first one they had was in 1937, so it's been going on quite a while. But the shots I saw you hit, Brian, you looked really good hitting the ball, and I know you're trying to play your way back in shape a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't play very good on the weekend. I played all right the first day, but didn't do a very good job of judging the ball out of the fairway, and didn't have enough birdie chances. Didn't get the ball in there close enough where I could have a chance. And I'm very happy. I'm putting much better. I'm reading the greens better and putting much better. So that's good. Yeah,
you're giving putting lessons, which is pretty cool. Hey, we're going to have to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to have Dan Daly joining us. He's at a wedding over in Alabama, but he's going to call in with his thoughts on the British Open. We're going to get Avery and everyone situated here because they're actually going to film the second half of our show to be shown on a documentary called Short Game about child prodigy golfers. And we got one in the house today, folks. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more British Open and then child prodigy golf on Texas Links on the Air.
Oh, there's more.
More on the way. Texas Links on the Air with your host, Pat Wheeler.
On KVCE, 1160 AM.
This is 1160 AM KVCE. KVCE. Dallas-Fort Worth's Business Authority.
Hoorah, veterans! It's about time our troops have a voice. Kilroy's Conversation is that voice. This is Major Andrew White, a veteran of the United States Army for 19 years. A father, a husband, a dedicated American to serve in his country along with the millions of other veterans. This is a show that discusses VA benefits, job training, medical needs, and more for today's veterans. So join me, Major Andrew White, on Kilroy's Conversation.
So tune in tomorrow from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. right here on AM 1160 KBCE.
I'm TJ. My mom is Basketball Hall of Famer Nancy Lieberman. Going to her camp taught me how to play basketball the right way. Tell them, Mom.
Join us at the World Ventures Nancy Lieberman Basketball Camp. We have 4 great sessions this summer at Fieldhouse USA in Frisco. We'll skill, drill, we'll build your confidence and self-esteem. We'll take your game to the next level. Sign up, call 972-473-2121, or go to NancyLieberman.com. Brought to you by the Nancy Lieberman and World Ventures Foundation. See you there.
Why should you try a free bottle of Krill Omega 10X? Well, if you're one of the millions of people who take fish oil and you want to experience the incredible benefits of krill and improve your joint comfort in just 7 days, then you've got to try a free bottle of Krill Omega 10X, the ultimate combination of ultra-pure fish oil and krill. Only Krill Omega 10X has 10 times the power of regular krill oil, so you know it's going to work for you. Experience the miracle of Krill Omega 10X for your heart, your cholesterol, your brain function, focus, energy, and especially your joints. For your free bottle, call now, 1-800-500-9575. We're so sure your joints are going to feel better and more flexible in just 7 days. We want to send you a free bottle. We know once you try it, you won't want to miss a day. Call now, 1-800-500-9575. Get your free bottle before they run out. Dial 1-800-500-9575. Call right now, 1-800-500-9575.
Is your money manager giving you safety and security? Wouldn't you like to make your money work harder for you? Then you should consider joining philsgang.com, where thousands of individual investors have successfully profited.
This year I'm up 60% on my portfolio. Following your system has been fantastic. I've been with you for about a month and a half now, and I'm already up 7%.
I've been in the business for a long time, and you're really one of the best I've ever heard.
Well, I just want to let you know what a great teacher you are.
For over a decade, philsgang.com's Phil Grandy and Donald Cogswell have been teaching, coaching, and investing right along with all Phil's Gang members.
I want to thank Donnie for market rep. I bought 2,500 shares of AUI and sold it this morning at $820 profit.
Why not join thousands of satisfied Phil's Gang customers today? Go to philsgang.com, philsgang.com, or call 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264. Call today.
From Wall Street to the Metroplex, this is 1160 AM KVCE, Dallas-Fort Worth's business authority.
Get in the swing. Texas Links on the air. And now, Pat Wheeler.
Thank you, Vino Sport. This is an exciting day at Texas Links on the air. This is the first time. Have you got my good side? Okay, they're getting the camera crew set up here. We're going to interview Avery Zweig and her father, Ivan, the next half hour. We're still talking British Open. I believe the edgy and always entertaining Dan Daly is now joining Brian Wilson and myself. Dan, are you calling in from Alabama at this wedding you're attending?
I am. I couldn't miss the show. I'm sorry I'm late, but I had to get in. I had to get in after this morning's action, especially.
Well, Brian said that forget Rory, it's all about Tiger. But let's get your take on this.
Well, it's always about Tiger, Pat. You know that. They said that his galleries were larger than Rory's this morning, which is insane to me. Yeah, it was. I mean, that's insane to me, but it's true. It just, you and I've talked about it 100 times. He is
the needle.
Than the sport. He is the needle. But anyway, as far as it being over, I kind of heard the tail end of y'all's first segment, and to put it in a different perspective, Vegas has him at minus 1,000 to win, meaning bet $1,000 to win 100. So they're pretty much telling you it's over. Now, I'm not as sure as they are. I wouldn't bet against him, but I think it all depends on the weather tomorrow. If the weather gets, British Open style weather, then anything can happen. But I think if it's a calm day like it has been, I don't see anybody catching him.
Well, one thing about Tiger's gallery, he was playing with Jordan Spieth. That might have juiced it up a little bit too, right?
Well, that's big in America, but I don't think they care about him. It's his second time over there. I'm not sure they care about Jordan Spieth as much as we do.
Well, Brian was just commenting, everybody talks about Rory and how long he is, and he is long. I mean, he's obviously hitting like 4 irons where some people can't get to the par 5s in 2, but that putting stroke today, my goodness.
Which is so funny to me because I read a quote from him not even 2 months ago that said he doesn't practice putting very much because he says he hits his drive so far that he has so many wedges in that he doesn't feel like he needs to practice long putting. And then he goes and drains a 40-foot bomb on 12, a 20-footer on 16 for eagle. I mean, it was they weren't just going in; they were going in Tiger 2000 dead center perfect pace.
I know, it's amazing. What's your take on ESPN/ABC versus what we normally get major golf coverage?
Oh, I'm big fan of CBS and their coverage, and even NBC with Johnny Miller. I'm in the minority on that, I think, but I'm not a big fan of ESPN's coverage. I never have been. I think, like today, Paul Azinger was just a little too excited about Rory, and I just think they get too emotional and too into it, as opposed to just calling the action. And I think they just made some comments that are, it's not for me.
It's almost, Brian, I want your take on this too, it's almost like they don't get to do golf enough to be really good at it, because it seemed to me a little bit forced at times. Like, I think somebody had like a 90-yard wedge shot, and he's got to be real careful with this. I'm thinking, what? It's a 90-yard wedge shot. It's a pro.
Yeah. The game has changed so much. You know, Curtis Strange and Azinger remember the game being hard. And these guys now, 90 yards is not hard.
Yeah.
With the ball and everything. And I'm like Dan. Azinger was a little not. Excited is a good word. He was a little much.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I'm not a big fan of any of the commentaries. I like Johnny Miller myself because he'll tell you what he's thinking.
Right. And he's probably the most transparent of the ones that have played at that level and so forth and so on. So, in other words, the front nine, if it's bad weather and Rory gets it out of gear, then we might have a tournament. Otherwise, it's pretty much a done deal.
Yeah, the forecast is supposed to be nice tomorrow, same as it has been. So, now, that could change. Like today, they thought they had storms and they didn't come, and it could be they call in for beautiful and then the storms come. They don't know.
Well, I wanted to mention one other thing, Dan. Our next guest, Avery, has a swing speed. She's 7 going on 8 years old. She has a swing speed of almost 68 to 70 miles an hour. What's the over and under for me on a 70-mile-an-hour swing speed? About another year or two?
You'll get there one day. If you swing out of your shoes, you might get there. Hey, you know what? I played against an 11-year-old at Birmingham Country Club yesterday and lost $20 to him, so don't feel bad. And I shot 75.
You name dropper getting to play Birmingham Country Club.
No,
I'll tell you.
I'm insulting myself. I lost to an 11-year-old and shot 75. This kid was insane.
Right. Well, Brian was just talking about the fact that they had a junior tournament over there, and they had 13-year-old kids hitting driver and irons to, 500-plus par fives. And that's just amazing to me how good they are at such an early age. And we're going to interview. This is going to be my first time to interview one of these phenoms. But I know you're too young to remember, Dan, but I do remember just vividly, or at least the film clip. Maybe I don't remember the actual program, but when Tiger Woods came on the Mike Douglas show, 3 years old, hitting a driver off a tee and into the net or something, and then he makes like about a 10 or 20 footer, with the cameras going. It was he was good at 3, he was good at 30, and he may be good again at 40 if he stays healthy. But when did you first take up the game, Dan?
Oh, probably about 5 years old.
Really?
Willowbrook Country Club.
How about that?
Drop off in the summer and go play golf all day.
Yeah, it's not a bad life. Not a bad life. And Brian, you were more like me. I was about 12. You were more in that age group, weren't you?
13 or 14. My dad told me I had to play right-handed. I'm left-handed.
Well, he did all right. You hit the ball.
It's been all right.
He did, yeah, absolutely. And what was the event you were talking about that we were having at Hawks Creek, Brian?
Oh, they were having a qualifying for the Texas PGA Legends Tour Championship, I think, down at Horseshoe Bay.
Okay.
So these were the better of the kids that were playing. They were all big and all well coached. You could see a bunch of them had been coached, look like tour players out there, routines. And, when I was 14 or 15, I teed the ball down hoping I could hit it.
Right. Well, of course, Scotty Scheffler is on our cover this month. And, of course, he's the next Jordan Spieth. And I remember the late Larry Sims, my good friend, was telling me that when Scotty first came out to Royal Oaks, he was like 4 or 5, 6 years old, and he had on slacks. And they said, well, why aren't you wearing shorts? He goes, well, all the pros wear slacks. And so he was wearing slacks, and he was acting like a pro at 5 or 6, and he hadn't stopped yet. I think he finished about 20th in the Byron Nelson and made a hole-in-one the last day. And he's a great story himself. Going to go to the University of Texas, Dan's alma mater.
He's not the next Jordan Spieth. He's what's his name? He's the new Scotty.
Yes.
No. Yes. He'll make it on his own. He's not going to have to ride Jordan's coattail.
Jordan's done all right though. Now, Dan, what about this 11-year-old? Tell us a little more about him. Obviously, he shot better than 75.
He was a fill-in. We had a four-man tournament, or 4 people per team, and we were in a little tournament. And one of our guys' flight got delayed, so he's a little country club kid that they put in our group. And he was cocky. First question he said was, "Are we playing for money?" And I knew I was in trouble then. I said, "Kid, you're 11. What? Do you have money?" But anyway,
he's got some years now. We know that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I tell you what, real quick, going back to speaking of kids and going back to the British Open, you brought up Tiger. The thing that amazed me today was Rory has what Tiger used to have, which is the second he got close, the second they put pressure on him, he went into a 5th gear. And it was just unbelievable to watch him after he bogeyed the par 3 to tie Ricky Fowler, or the previous hole, to tie Ricky Fowler, and then he goes birdie, eagle, bogey, eagle. And that's what Tiger used to do. And that's what is going to be amazing to watch Rory's career, because they're always going to compare him to Tiger as long as he keeps getting better and better and better. And the way he did that today, and we had a golf tournament at about 8 o'clock this morning, and by 9 o'clock, it was done. And it was the first time anybody's put pressure on him in 2 days, and he answered it with 2 eagles in 3 holes.
Right, and when I turned it on, it was they were both 12 under. As I told Brian, they were further along than I thought they'd be. Then I found out about the split tee thing where they went off 1 and 10, which is unprecedented in a major tournament. And the hour that I watched the whole, like you said, he went to another gear. The other guys backed up, and all of a sudden he's got a 6-shot lead he's sleeping on tonight. So
it was exactly what Tiger did at the 2008 Open at Torrey. He got pressure, and he eagled 14, and he chipped in on 17, he eagles 18 to get back in the lead. I mean, it's amazing. Nicklaus had it. The great ones had it. Jordan had it in basketball. I mean, you put the pressure on, that's when you're good. That's when you're really, really good.
That's a good point.
You have that 5th gear and you can get to it.
Good point.
I don't have it.
I know. Rory's getting a little old now. What is he, about 23, 24?
I know, exactly, right?
Yeah. Well, this will be his 3rd major if he holds on, and he's on his way to having a wonderful career. And the only thing I mentioned in the first segment, Dan, I alluded to his collapse at the Honda Classic, which I know is not a major, but he shot about 40 on the last 9 holes. If that swing does get out of gear, there's a precedent there, but I just don't see it happening either. He's
Well, don't forget the Masters. I mean, he collected the lead at the Masters and collapsed.
You're right.
On Sunday. Now, he bounced back to win the U.S. Open a month later, but it's not over. I mean, keep in mind, Mickelson was 5 back last year. Els was 6 back 2 years ago. Harrington was 6 back when he won. I mean, it's not over, but the guys leading weren't named Rory McIlroy and weren't hitting the ball this well. But Rory does have a history of having blow-up rounds, and that's one thing Tiger never did. He might not have always won, but he never had the blow-up rounds when he was in contention. And Rory has a history of them. Not to say he will tomorrow, but it's in there. It's possible.
Well, guys, we're out of time. I want to thank you so much for calling in, especially from Alabama. And Brian, always good to have you on from Fort Worth. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to interview the 7-year-old phenom, Avery Zweig, and her father, Ivan, on Texas Links on the Air. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Stay right there. More Texas Links on the Air is on the way with your host, Pat Wheeler, on AM 1160 KBCE.
This is 1160 AM, KVCE, Dallas-Fort Worth's business authority.
Bill Gunderson is a regular contributor to TheStreet.com, MarketWatch, Seeking Alpha, and many other financial publications in America. He's a regular guest on CNBC, the Fox Business Channel, and Bloomberg Radio. He's also the creator of the Best Stocks Now app. Bill Gunderson knows the market. Bill Gunderson knows stocks. Now you can hear him live right here on KVCE. Weekdays at 6 a.m. and again at 8 a.m.
Hello, everybody. Alan Thicke here. You know, our nation's tax laws change every year. The one constant is you have to pay them. Now, if you're one of those millions of Americans who owes back taxes, you know that the IRS is cracking down. They can garnish your paycheck, levy your bank accounts, even your home or business could be up for grabs. But here's the good news. They're offering a new way out. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative, a government program for tax debt forgiveness. You could qualify for a settlement that's substantially less than before these changes. And nobody knows this program better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Their attorneys and enrolled agents will work to get you the best deal possible. Optima Tax Relief is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call them now for a free consultation.
Call 800-711-5743. That's 800-711-5743. 800-711-5743. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Let's take a trip down memory lane. Time to get a new car. You and the family pull up to your local dealership all excited. You say hi to the person that's been there a long time, and he gives you the keys for the test drive, and off you and the family go. You get back to the dealership. He gives you a price for the old Galaxy 500 and a price for the new Country Squire wagon, hands you the buyer's order, and later you come back from the bank with the check. Oh, the good old times. Well, the good old times never went away at 5-Star Ford in North Richland Hills. Well, almost. No more Galaxy 500 or Country Squires, but just the old way of doing business. At 5-Star Ford, they know there are a lot of other places to buy the next car, truck, or SUV, but they also know the old way is better. Start by calling Bob Carmack at 817-519-6860. That's 817-519-6860. And spend more time driving and enjoying and less time negotiating. Remember, at 5-Star Ford, North Richland Hills, it's the old school way. And remember, tire kickers are welcome.
Are you looking for reliable and cost-effective web hosting and cloud solutions for your business? Sozo Hosting, spelled S-O-Z-O, is the answer. Sozo has provided great service for Bull Realty for over 8 years. Sozo Hosting is ready to provide you with first-class, reliable, and secure service. Call 1-844-HOST-NOW or visit sozohosting.com. That's sozohosting.com.
You're listening to 1160 AM, KVCE.
Texas Links on the air.
Texas Links on the air.
Texas Links on the air. Here's the man working on that perfect backswing. Woohoo! Your host, Pat Wheeler.
Thank you, Benos Ford. Great report from Brian Wilson and Dan Daly. Two sharp guys. We're so privileged to be able to have them on the show. And we've got an amazing half hour for you coming up, folks. Before we do, one thing I forgot to do the first half of the show. The K-Cup, K-A-Y-K-U-P, K-Cup is August 1st and 2nd at Luna Vista Golf Course, not far from here in northwest Dallas off Royal Lane and Luna Road. It's $150. Call the pro shop at Luna Vista. It's a great tournament. It's kind of like the club championship of Luna Vista Golf Course, and we'll talk more about that next week. But, folks, today, as I alluded to earlier, I remember watching a 3-year-old Tiger Woods on the Mike Douglas show hit the golf ball like you just wouldn't believe. Perfect golf swing, makes a 10, 20-foot putt. The legendary Bob Hope was on that show. It was just a special moment. And, about a week or two ago, I deliver the DFW links. I'm at the Golf Tech in Plano talking to Bo Hodnett, the owner there. He says, you would not believe this young girl that I helped put clubs together for. And I said, well, tell me about it. Avery. And her name is Avery Zweig. I thought she was 8 years old. I was wrong. She's 7 years old, soon to be 8, has played in more than 96 golf tournaments, has won more than half of those 96 tournaments, and swings a golf club at close to 70 miles an hour, which is a good senior speed. And Of course, Dan was being funny. I'm backing up towards 70 miles an hour. He was talking like I needed to get to 70 miles an hour. But anyway, and this is what gets me. You know, we've had Homero Blancas on the show, Mr. 55, shot a 55 in a golf tournament. Well, Avery shot a 28. And I want to welcome you to Texas Links on the Air, Avery Zag. Tell us about shooting a 28 the other day.
Well, shooting a 28.
Yeah, well, just tell us about your golf game. And you had a 28, and that was just kind of like, okay, I'm having a 28, right?
Mm-hmm.
So where was that? Where was that round?
Where the round was, it was at Bear Creek Golf Course.
That's right there by the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport with all the big planes coming in and everything, and you had a 28, right?
Yes.
And go ahead.
They're like planes coming in every 5 seconds.
And are you aware of the fact that you hit the ball a long way for someone your age?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and does that make golf easier when you're playing closer to the green?
Yes, it sort of does.
Yeah, it does at your level and at the pro level. Now, have you been watching some of the British Open?
Yes, I have.
What do you think about that golf course over there?
I think it's a nice golf course.
It looks different, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. It does look different.
Okay. Well, tell us about how you got to play in golf. Now, when are you going to be 8 years old?
Well,
when will you be 8? When's your birthday?
When I'm going to be 8 years old, it's January 27th of next year.
2015. Wow. So you were born January of 2007.
Yes.
When did you pick up your first golf club?
When I picked up my first golf club, I really didn't pick it up. Like, my dad would stand over me. He would hold the golf club, and I would be holding it too.
Which club?
It was my putter. I was 2, so I was, we have, a little mat.
Uh-huh.
And it doesn't have a real hole, but it has, one of those holes where there's, a little wall in the back of it.
Yeah.
And then he would just, I would hold the putter, he would hold it too, and then he would tell me how to take the backstroke, and he would say right hand first, and then left hand on the club, and all that stuff, and then when I was old enough, I could stand by myself, but I couldn't remember my routine, so he would say right hand on the club, then left hand, and that's how it started. Then I started to pick up the game of golf.
Exactly. Now, I have YouTubed you, and people can YouTube you and see your wonderful golf swing. And I even talked to the guy who helps teach you, the golf whisperer, Wes.
Mm-hmm.
He says you hit the ball a long, long way. He says that if you get your putting going even better, you'll be the #1 player in the world for your age. But you're not a bad putter because I watched you putt on that YouTube as well. But I guess golf is that kind of game, isn't it? You're always trying to get better, aren't you?
Yes, it is.
So what's your routine in golf now? Do you play every day, or do you play 3 times a week, or do you hit balls every day? What's your routine?
Well, this summer I'm almost playing every single day, in tournaments.
Which leagues? Tell them which leagues.
Which league? The leagues is U.S. Kids and NTPGA.
North Texas PGA has a league for, and you're considered. Is it? And Ivan, you can jump in here. Her dad Ivan's here. Is it 6 to 8? Is that her age bracket, or
7 to 8?
7 to 8,
and then 9. And so she's been playing. So she won the 9 and 10-year-old flight in the fall as a 6-year-old. We played her up because there was literally 2 or 3 kids that played as 7 and 8-year-olds. So.
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted to play, and so we played her up in the fall because there was a lot more kids.
Okay.
And she won. She won the fall point series. It's sort of like the FedEx points, but they do it for spring, summer, and fall.
Right.
Same tees.
Yeah, and it's the same tee, and it's the same tees as the 7 and 8.
Oh, right.
So there was no disadvantage distance-wise, And we figured, well, hey, let's just go play with everybody else, and she won.
How old were you when you played? How old were you when you played in your first tournament?
How did I play my first?
No, how old were you?
How old were you? Was it 4 or 5 or 6?
Well, my first tournament was in the U.S. Kids. I was 5.5.
Yep.
Okay.
And I shot 65.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I remember the days when we were halves, 5.5, 6.5. I don't know when that goes away. I think 13 or something. But anyway, so you had a 65. Now that's for 9 holes, right?
Yes, it was for 9 holes, but
you had a 28 for 9 holes this year, right?
Yes.
That's pretty good improvement.
Thank you.
I want to hear more about that 28. I want to make sure you tell us about that 28. That was at Bear Creek. What was the par? And Ivan, you can help us out on this.
Par 36. And
par
it was,
36.
Ordinarily, it's 1,675 yards, which is actually pretty long for them.
Right.
Their world's distances are only about 1,500.
Now, when you say world distances, they have like an official...
Well, they're going to U.S. Kids Worlds Tournament she's got in 2 weeks, and we're leaving tonight for the TaylorMade Worlds in Las Vegas, and that's 1,495 yards. So this one was 1,675, and they had a temporary green on the first hole, so it was normally 250, and it was playing about 185. Tell them what you did on the first hole.
And on the first hole, I hit my drive like 185 or something, and I hit it to like 5 feet
it was a par
from
5.
the hole, and it was a par 5, and I made the putt for Albatross.
I'm so impressed, not only with your drive and your putt, but the fact that you called it an albatross. Because a lot of people call that a double eagle, and it's really not. It's an albatross, which is the most rare thing there is in golf. Now, have you made a hole-in-one yet?
No, I haven't made a hole-in-one yet, but I mean, yesterday I played at Jim McLean Golf Center, and I hit a sand wedge, and it bounced, and then it bounced on the lip, and it just bounced to like 2 feet.
Bounce, hit the lip. I got it on video, and I mean, it was one of those ones that was going in the whole way, and then it just hit the lip, and it wound up being about 2 feet. So she made birdie, but that was the closest she's probably come.
You didn't get mad, did you?
No, I didn't. I was actually pretty excited.
Well, I was just kidding you there. You know, guys, radio guys kid sometimes. Right. Well, that's something to look forward to. Although I must tell you, my brother is a little bit younger than I am. He's never made one. And then my dad never made one. But, I've had 2. Mike Henry, how many have you had?
1.
Mike Henry's had 1. Mike's my friend from Atlanta visiting. We're playing a lot of golf. And so you're leaving this evening for Las Vegas, and this is the TaylorMade
World Masters.
Is this pretty exciting? You're going to be playing with kids from all over the world?
Yes, it is pretty exciting.
You keep repeating. You don't have to answer in complete sentences.
I want to ask you something. I want to ask you something, Avery. Avery, now what's the person you play with from the furthest away? Have you played from a little 8-year-old or 7-year-old girl from Japan or from Scotland, or just tell us about that?
Yeah, you played against multiple kids from Asia at Worlds.
I've played against, I don't really know, but at Worlds, they're it's like worldwide from people. There are people from Paris,
land of China, from China, India.
From China. India, I mean, it's like worldwide, and I really don't know the farthest, but I mean, there are like a lot of kids there, and there are going to be a lot of kids in Vegas, so I don't really know.
Well, that's okay.
The girl that just won Callaway Worlds this week, her name's Pinchampu something, and she has a twin, and I can't pronounce their last name. It's really long. It's really long, but anyway, she won Callaway Worlds by 11 shots, and she's playing her this week.
Is that why you're wearing a Callaway visor? You played in the Callaway World. They give them visors?
No.
No, you just like it?
She highly endorses the product.
Right. Well, TaylorMade may want you to wear their visor here pretty soon, but we'll have to see how that goes. And, hey, we got to take a break. We're going to come back. But, folks, I'm so sorry. I should have mentioned this earlier. If you want to call in and ask Avery a question, you can always call us, 214-787-1160. That's 214-787-1160. Call in and ask what it's like to be 7 years old and shoot a 28 for 9 holes. That's not done every day. And we're just having a lot of fun talking to Avery with her mom and dad here, and we even got some guys filming this, folks. So this is going to be on a documentary. We'll talk about that later as well. Stay tuned. Got one more really good segment of Texas Links on the Air coming your way after these messages.
Don't move.
Is that a beautiful backswing?
He got all of that one. Texas Links on the Air returns on AM 1160 KVCE.
The Business Authority, 1160 AM KVCE.
Mother of a child with behavior problems, I'd like to talk to you. My name is Janet Lehman. I'm a behavioral therapist and a mom. I know what it's like when the child you love becomes a defiant, out-of-control child who disrespects you. That's why my husband James and I created the Total Transformation, the program that tens of thousands of moms are now using to turn around their child's behavior. If you've heard about the Total Transformation and wondered if it will work for you, now you can try it for free. I'm willing to give away 1,000 programs today for free. All you need to do is get the program and let us know how it works for you. We'll let you keep it for free. I know the Total Transformation works because I used these techniques with my own son and with troubled kids for over 30 years. Let me prove to you that it works by giving you the program for free.
Call now, 1-800-299-2896. 1-800-299-2896. That's 1-800-299-2896.
At Parker Law Firm, people matter. We have an unwavering commitment to people who have been seriously harmed by the negligence or wrongdoing of others. Our practice focuses on those who have been killed or seriously injured in major trucking or car accidents or whose lives have been seriously disrupted by the bad faith conduct of an insurance company.
Hi, I'm Brad Parker, Principal Partner at Parker Law Firm. I'm board certified in personal injury trial law by the Texas Board of Legal Specialization. I'm also the immediate past president of the Texas Trial Lawyers Association. Our firm knows that when you or a loved one has been seriously injured in an accident caused by another person's negligence, you may not know where to go or who to trust. Our firm is built on years of trial experience, a tradition of personal service, and a reputation for zealous representation of our clients. We're dedicated to providing experienced and comprehensive legal assistance to individuals and their families during their times of need.
Let the attorneys from Parker Law Firm help you. Get a free consultation. Give us a call, 817-503-9200, or visit parkerlawfirm.com.
Psychologically, I was more alert and just like ready to go each morning.
I'm less fatigued, less tired.
I was able to push myself as hard as I possibly could, and then the next day, I felt great. I was able to go out and get another real good workout in the very next day.
What are all these people talking about? They're talking about Total Med Solutions. Imagine how your life could be if you and your spouse both had more energy, lost weight, slept better, woke up refreshed every single day, and feeling happier with fewer mood swings. Ladies, get your man off the couch for an hour. Come in, get tested, and find out if bioidentical hormone replacement therapy can restore your relationship to the way it was 10, 20, or even 30 years ago.
I'm talking to another guy. They owe it to themselves to go get their testosterone level checked.
Call right now. Don't wait to get started and start enjoying your life all over again.
Total Med Solutions, 214-234-9145. That's 214-234-9145.
From Wall Street to the Metroplex, this is 1160 AM KVCE.
The Golf Authority. Texas Links on the Air.
Texas Links on the Air.
Here's your host, Pat Wheeler.
Thank you, Venos Ford. And we asked folks to call in. We understand we have a phone call from a Connie Black. Is that right?
Good afternoon.
And Connie is a guy, and he is a golf rider. Did you have a question for Avery, Connie?
I sure do. I'm curious at her early age whether she and her instructors are working on distance more than accuracy or accuracy first. I was curious which one gets the priority at that age level.
Okay, good question. Are you trying to get longer, Avery, or are you trying to get straighter, or both?
Well, I'm just trying to get better.
There you go.
I don't know. I mean, you want to get longer, obviously.
Absolutely.
And you want to get you want to hit it straight too. I'm just working on both because I go to him.
What's your primary focus though that you work on? What we spent since March or February?
But what we spent since March or February, we've been spending most time on the short game because at Worlds I'm going to be hitting driver wedge, but not on the par threes, obviously. But
sounds like your game, Connie. Driver, wedge.
Well, if wedge is a nickname for my 5-iron.
Right.
Well, how's that coming? I mean, I'm curious is putting already one of her strengths, or chipping, or...
What's your mantra, Avery? Tell them your mantra.
My mantra is I'm the best putter, therefore I always have a chance to win.
There you go. There you go. Well, I did speak to her instructor, Connie, and he said that she's definitely probably the longest golfer her age in the country or world. And if she gets her putting better, she'll be number one in the world. But obviously she is getting better at her putting because that's what she's working on. And so we want to do that. Now, I wanted to, and stay on the line, Connie, because you may have some more questions, but I know that you said your favorite golfer is Lexi Thompson, and I also know that you've been working with Brittany Lang, and Brittany Lang and her husband are friends with your parents. That must be kind of neat to get to know a pro golfer on a personal level.
Yeah, it is pretty.
And what do you think about her game? Have you been out and played a few holes with Brittany?
You've watched her.
Or watched her?
I have watched her. I haven't played with her yet.
Okay.
But my dad said that we could set up a game where it's him against Kevin.
Kevin and I versus
Kevin
the girls.
and I versus me and Brittany.
Yeah.
And I think I can beat them. I
was going to say Kevin's a good golfer. I know Ivan is, but I'll put my money on the girls.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that should be a lot of fun. Now tell me about Lexi Thompson being your favorite golfer.
Well, Lexi Thompson, she qualified for the U.S. Open when she was 12, and she's a good athlete. She works out almost after a round. I mean, most people, they would just want to go home and just lay down after the round, but she just goes out. She just goes to the workout center and works out after she does her.
And she won Worlds at 8 and 9 by such a large margin. She stopped playing in it. Like she didn't play in it. She won. She shot I don't know, like 12 or 15 under 2 times in a row, and that was it. So. And
Michelle Wee was in that same category. I think she qualified for the U.S. Women's Amateur at like age 11 or something really great like that. And you saw the 11-year-old girl on the at the U.S. Women's U.S. Open. So that's you in 3 years, right?
I don't know about that, but I could do it before high school.
Well, I think that's good. Also, I was reminded Michelle Wee said her goal was to play in the Masters, and you never know when you get to be like 20 years old. If you're good enough, is that something that might interest you?
Yes.
That's cool. I want to tell my quick Lexi Thompson story. Tommy Finn's great friend of mine with Staubach Marketing, and he was involved with getting the Cadillacs. Now, I know you're too young to drive right now, but when you get older and you get on the tour, they give you a nice car to drive. And he got her one of those, I think it's a CTS or something, and he said, now this has 500 horsepower, so be real careful. And she said, don't tell my mom. Because it was a real fast car. But, of course, she was careful in it. But well, I know you got the tournament in Las Vegas. Connie, you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Anything else?
I was curious if she's planning to compete in the drive, chip, and putt.
Oh, that's a great question.
Oh,
great question.
Sore subject. Yeah,
subject. Okay.
We did. Flashbacks. Yeah, we've been practicing the flat chip. One of the things when they're little, I coach her not quite a bit, but she's got a routine, and so she knows how to do her swing, and she'll say a little more, a little less, or I'll tell her a little more, a little less. So the chipping is a little bit of a challenge. So she got 35 points on the putting, and then they had a chip. We've been practicing by herself because they can't have coaching out there. And the chip, we've been practicing a flat chip, and we get out there, and they're hitting this like uphill with a flat spot and then downhill.
And there was nowhere to practice it.
Yeah, and we couldn't practice the shot, because they would have the only area that was like that. So it was a little bit of a challenge, and so we wound up getting no points. We bageled out on that, and then she won the drive. And honestly, I was actually more worried about the drive than the chip because she's an excellent chipper, but the drive, she needed to hit it straight, and in her alignment sometimes she's not aware of it. And so obviously on the course I can help her with that, but so she piped 3 drives and won the drive by a lot, but it was very disappointing heading down to Austin last week when she missed the drive, chip, and putt. But she did a good job, and she was very prepared. I was very proud of her.
I still love the approach y'all are taking, working on all parts of her game, because that's the same thing me and Pat are doing.
Yeah.
So the better part of that is surrounding yourselves with eagles, people that are soaring in golf with Lexi and the people that she's being exposed to. There's just no substitute for that, I don't believe.
Well, that's a good point. She has a, quote, rival from Florida, right? There's a young girl there that you kind of battle for first. And, I think that's one of the things about Ben Crenshaw and Tom Kite. They competed against each other. So hopefully someone will come along. And I mentioned that to the Mariano Barbosa, who's the 13-year-old at Stevens Park. There's another young man at Stevens Park about his age that's real good. That's the greatest thing you can do sometimes, is to push yourself against someone else, to get better and that kind of thing. You brought up an interesting point to me, though. In this competition in Las Vegas, will you be able to be out on the fairway with her while she's competing?
Yes. So there's full caddying.
Okay.
I was more referring to I guess in junior golf, like when they get to AJGA, you can't caddy then.
Right.
And so they have that same methodology for the drive, chip, and putt, which is, I can understand when they're 10, 11, 12, but when they're 7, 8, 9, it's hard for them to be autonomous on the golf course.
Sure. So that kicks in at like age 10 or whenever the AJGA.
Yeah, AJGA is 12. So when they're
12.
when they're getting close to 12, they have to clip the wings.
Okay.
And they're prepping them for college golf is the explanation, which I can understand. So.
I understand it. Now, what about Las Vegas, Avery? Is this your first trip to Las Vegas?
No, it isn't. But for golf, it is.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, you're not going to get on that roller coaster, are you, on top of that building?
No,
Dad wouldn't do that. Dad's got more sense.
We're out on that. We're out on that.
I have no idea what that is.
Yes, you do. The Stratosphere. Remember we went up there and that roller coaster that's outside? And I was like, no way. Remember we took pictures?
Well, we are about out of time. Tell us where we can keep up with her this week at the TaylorMade World Championship. Tell us about the website and any other information about Avery for people that may want to know more about her game.
Yeah, so Avery's very active in all the local tours, so U.S. Kids and NTPGA.
Okay.
And she's got the NTPGA Championships coming up right when she gets back.
Okay.
The TaylorMade World Masters, if you just Google TaylorMade World Masters, and if you Google U.S. Kids World Championships, you'll be able to find the leaderboards these next 2 weeks. And, we're expecting big things. She finally gets to play the long distances, so she's ready.
Okay. Well, Avery, I want to thank you for being on Texas Links on the Air. You're the youngest, prettiest guest we've had on this show.
Thank you.
We want to wish you good luck. And we're going to leave with my saying, and I think this applies to all golfers. The late, great Harvey Pinnock, who taught Tom Kite and Ben Crenshaw, said you'll have more fun at golf if you hit the ball where they mow. So always keep that ball in the fairway and on the green, and you'll do really well. Thank you so much for being on Texas Links on the Air. We look forward to catching up with you later in the summer to see how you did in these tournaments.
Thank you for having us.
You bet. You bet. That's all, folks. We'll see you next week on Texas Links on the Air.
KVCE.
Hoorah, veterans. It's about time our troops